Matchday live here on LUTV. Monday night football for the team with Sunderland, the visitors. Now, we all know it's a big one tonight with both clubs very much in the automatic promotion race. And joining us for this one, we have Leeds United women's Bridie Hannon and former Sunderland manager, Simon Grayson.
Yeah, well, can you just say Leeds United manager?
We can. I'm glad you got the jokes. Are we looking forward to this one, Simon?
Yeah, everybody knows it's such a big game. Two teams close together. It could have a big significance on what happens to Sunderland trying to catch us. But ultimately, it's about what we do tonight. Try and win and pull away from Sheffield United, who won at the weekend, and Burnley, who drew at the weekend.
Bridie, given our recent form, it feels like a good time to be coming into this game, doesn't it?
Yeah, we're massively, full on confidence out. We've had clean sheets and we're scoring goals. So, we should be confident going into this. But at the same time, we've got to respect the opposition. We can't be complacent and we've got to do the simple things right, ultimately.
How wary should we be of tonight's opposition, Sunderland side?
Look, they're a good team. They're up there for a reason. They've got a coach that's new to the Championship, but he's embraced it really well. They've got some really good individual players as well. And hopefully them key individual players for Sunderland are not at it tonight. I think when you look at our team, it's strong, it's powerful, it's kept clean sheets. But they're going to probably be asked a lot more questions tonight than they have been over the last few weeks. No disrespect to the likes of Cardiff and other teams we've won quite comfortably against. This is a team that are pushing for promotion, and it's going to be a cracking atmosphere, and that's going to be the big thing as well, that our fans are certainly going to be fully behind our team.
Well, the atmosphere, you can hear it already, it is incredible out there. Bridie, where do you think the major threats are going to be tonight in this Sunderland side?
I think obviously, there's the striker up top, isn't there? Isidore, he's scored 11 goals this season. I think also out wide on the left as well. I know they have had some injury problems on the left, but since they've got the new signing, LUFC, scored a really good goal at Luton last week, and then against Middlesbrough, just I was talking about it before, wasn't I? The exquisite touch to take it past Luke Ayling, and then the cross into the box for them to equalise in the 87th minute. He's a real threat for us. So, like Simon says, we've really got to be on our A game today, and everybody's got to be at it from the get-go.
Simon, I know you referenced the fact that this is going to be a different kind of challenge tonight, but what kind of game are you expecting?
Probably like games that we've had here most of the season against lesser opposition, where the teams sit back. Sunderland are quite known for playing deep in their own area, half defensive third, but they have got players that can hit you on the counter-attack, and that's why when we're pushing likes of Firpo and Bogle forward, both Tanaka and Gurev, who stayed in the team tonight, will be key to stopping the counter-attacks against them. So the pace and power and Bellingham's runs from midfield will be the key areas we need to stop. But they've got to worry about us, by the way, because we've got some proper players in our team. We're playing with lots of confidence, got goals in us, we've kept clean sheets. Yeah, respectful of the opposition, but they'll be more respectful of us.
Absolutely. Well, we'll talk about the team news very shortly. But in terms of that top four, 14 defeats between them. I mean, does that make the fixtures even more important, do you think, Bridie, when you look at that?
Yeah, I'd say so, because there's less opportunity for you to pull away from the rest of the pack. So every week when we win, so are they. And I was thinking about this. Wouldn't it be nice to win the league and still have a couple of games in hand? When you think back
so we can breathe.
Yes, so we can breathe. Because if you think back to a few seasons ago when we got promoted, the last game of the season against Swansea, we were able to just kind of sit back and chill and enjoy it, weren't we? But I think given how tight it is at the top, I do think it's going to go right down to the wire.
Yeah, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it the typical Leeds United way, aren't
Exactly.
we?
I didn't want to say that, but
We're going to the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Look, team news-wise, Simon, unchanged. One of the things that we were sort of deliberating ahead of this one was whether he goes for Gruev or Rothwell in midfield. We know that he's gone for Ilya Gruev. What do you think the thinking is behind that?
Well, I think he's got some fantastic options. Rothwell's been one of the best players this season as well. Tanaka's certainly been outstanding. But I think Gruev just gives you a little bit more sort of protection in front of the back four. As I mentioned previously, the Bogle and Firpo will look to bomb on like they do, and sometimes Rothwell and Tanaka, one sits more than and the other one goes forward a little bit. I think Gurev and Tanaka will probably just sit as a double pivot rather than just the one that we play at home. So yeah, it's horses for courses. I know Daniel picks his team against the opposition, but he's got such a selection that he can pick from any time, both starting the 11 to the lads coming off the bench to affect the game as well.
Yeah, that's the thing, Bridie. Even when you look at the bench, there's just strength in depth everywhere.
Yeah, I change my mind every week on which partnership I prefer, but I think it really does depend on who we're playing against, and I think probably the reason why he's unchanged is because of the threat that Sunderland possesses. Like Simon says, you know, Grove cuts the passes out and he reads the game really, really well. But, you know, it's a difficult job Daniel Farke's got to pick this team. I mean, everybody on the bench is probably thinking they should be playing, and, you know, understandably they've all got a reason for that. But, you know, I think he's gone with the strongest starting 11 for tonight's game.
Believe me, it's easier to look behind you when you're on the bench as a manager to see proper players behind you rather than scratching your head and going, not sure I'm going to put on here. He's got the luxury of picking the best team that he can do, and he can take anybody off or put anybody on at any particular time, because most of that bench will get into every other championship team.
How will Daniel Farke feel about that when he looks at his squad, Simon?
He'll be delighted. He's only got Patrick Bamford and Woover's out injured at this moment in time. You start to worry if you've got 5 or 6 of your squad out, because you're going into the big run-in of the final third of the season. But he has got competition for places, and he knows there might be a loss of form, an injury or two along the way. So he's got to keep these lads happy. Believe me, the easiest thing he's doing is keeping the 11 happy, 7 or 8 subs that you're using regularly, and the other few that are not in the stand are ready to come on at any time.
Well, let's get the thoughts of one of those starting 11, shall we? Here's Dan James.
Well, Dan, it's a game to look forward to this evening, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, the fans will definitely be looking forward to this one. It's you know, it's a highlight game. 2 teams in great form who are playing great football at the minute. So I'm sure it'll be a great game tonight.
Do you attach any more significance to it because they're close in the table, or is it just another 3 points to be gained?
We just take game after game. We know the importance of it. They're a team that's in 4th position, and to extend that gap tonight would be, you know, very big going into the latter stages of the season. But you know, it's one that, you know, we'll apply properly just like we do to every game.
Have you any sense of how they'll come and approach this game this evening? We've seen various attempts to get something from other teams so far this campaign.
Yeah, I think you know, they're a team that's very compact, team that are great at counter-attacking, so I'm sure they'll try and do the same tonight. They've been in great form, so I don't think they'll be any different from what they've been doing.
There's almost like, with all of us, we don't want to talk about what's at stake with this game or what it means. But when you look at the table, knowing that we could go 10 points clear, that's huge, isn't it, Simon? Yeah,
it is, psychologically as well, and you're probably cutting a team out the promotion hunt, really, if we get 10 points clear. But I think all Daniel will be thinking, and the team will be thinking, the message to the team will be, it is a cliche, but it is just tonight. Go and do whatever we can tonight. I think the biggest thing tonight is that we don't get beat against them. Ideally, love to win the game and be setting out to win the game. But if we don't lose the game, it means that Sunderland not clawing 3 points back on us. We don't drop any points with a draw. Ultimately, if we win the game, another 10 points clear. 10 points clear of Sunderland, they're not catching us.
Knowing what's at stake, Bridie, and knowing what a big game this is, how important is it and how difficult can it be not to play to the occasion and let that pressure get to you?
Yeah, I mean, like Simon says, we've just got to take it, you know, one game at a time and just keep ticking them off and not worry about what other teams are doing, but worry about what we're doing. And, you know, if we get a draw tonight, it won't be the worst result in the world. We still go, you know, top on goal difference. And let's be honest, nobody's catching us on that. So, you know, yes, it would be lovely to get a win, but equally, they've come here to get a win tonight as well. So it's not going to be an easy game. Well,
look, we heard from Dan James there, who, of course, scored 2 of those goals against Watford last time out. Tony Dorigo described that performance as purring. Not heard that description.
Never
before.
heard of that.
Would you say that's quite fitting, Simon?
Yeah, it was because it just feels that everything is just going so smoothly, and the performance that night. I did the game here, and everybody was on the front foot, out of possession. We were really good. We sort of anticipated any loose balls, had the composure to finish things, and we were so ruthless. Any chances we got, we looked like we did finish 4. Could have had a few more. But we limited them, the home team, to few opportunities. And I think Watford, where did they go this weekend? They went somewhere and won 1-0. Middlesbrough, who were a good team. So they're no mugs, but we absolutely destroyed them. And it was an all-round, really, really strong team performance.
Yeah, every player seems to be in top form, don't they? How does that happen all at the same time?
I just think it's, you know, team spirit, good man management. You know, everybody's singing off the same hymn sheet at the moment, you know, and especially the subs. And, you know, what I found fascinating about this season is when the subs have come on, they've just made an impact straight away. I mean, I was here a few weeks ago, Sheffield Wednesday. Ramazani came on 4 minutes into the game, he scored. Nonto, I think it was against Cardiff or Coventry, came on within a minute, he'd scored. So, you know, the message is go out there and make an impact and show why you should be playing, and that's exactly what they're doing, which is why I say it must be a real headache for Daniel Farke.
Defensively though, I mean, we've scored 18 goals in the league without conceding. Simon, our defence does deserve major credit for that.
Yeah, it certainly does. And it's chopped and changed over the last few weeks. Sam Byron's been in there and other players. Ilan Meslier has come in and been fantastic.
And bounced back from that criticism.
Yeah, unbelievable
as well.
mental strength to do what he did. And if you're giving the base of clean sheets, this front four that'll start tonight is as good as anything that is in the Championship and a lot of the Premiership teams in the bottom half of that division. They're so full of confidence. They've got different skills. Ramazani can drop a shoulder, go either way. Dan James, his electric pace. And then you've got Aronson with his pure endeavour and his workload and chipping in with goals and assists. And Piru as well now, he's sort of firing on all cylinders as well. And even if it means getting a goal like this, you're shooting outside of the box, you get a deflection. We'll take that all day long to win 1-0. But we're going to see the fourth goal in a minute, and it was an absolute joy to watch this goal.
It really was. It was the perfect display of confidence, this, really, wasn't it, Bridie?
Yeah, I mean, he missed a chance in the first half, actually, where he cut inside and kicked it straight at the goalkeeper, and I think he was a little bit frustrated with himself and maybe thought it wasn't going to be his night, but great work by Tanaka there, and then a good cross in, and he just showed real composure there, and that finish just oozed confidence, didn't it? And I actually think he's better when he's got, well, when he doesn't have as much time and he's just going off instinct, but yeah, really, really good finish from him.
Look, I don't want to jinx it or tempt fate or put either of you two on the spot, but do you think we're looking at a side here who you could confidently say you can compete competently in the Premier League?
That is a different question. Let's get there first.
Oh, Simon!
I'm being sort of seen my sort of sensible as look. My heart will say the yes, 100%.
So will mine. There we go. Next question.
But professionally, I would think there's quite a few of our team that won't cut it in the Premier League. That they'll need to get a lot more players in the summer. But we'll deal with that when it comes along.
And I think this is where, if we do go up and have that little bit of breathing space, that's when the real preparation can start. So, you know, there's not just the benefits of going up and letting the fans just kind of relax and enjoy themselves. It's more, you know, for the board to get in and, you know, sort the business out, really.
That's the answer I wanted.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bridie. Right, let's head outside to the tunnel, shall we, and catch up with our commentary team this evening, Bryn Law and Tony DeRigo.
Well, the sense of anticipation is building down here in the tunnel as we look forward to this big game. Team news first, fairly straightforward, Tony.
It is, and rightly so. It's the same team. I think we now know what our starting 11 is, and the way they've performed in recent games has just been absolutely superb. So it really is same again.
And in every sense, you hope it's going to be same again.
It is, because we're scoring plenty of goals. We look solid at the back. We're dictating and controlling games as well in midfield. I think our organisation and pressing is superb. And Sunderland will come to play because they've got some decent players, and I think that just might help us as well.
Do you think Sunderland will look at the table, there's a bit of a gap there, and think, well, actually, we've got to come and win this one tonight to make real inroads into that gap?
I think it already looks like they're in the playoffs. In that they're fourth, the gap to fifth is quite great. If they want to think of doing anything more, you're right, they're going to come here and win. But I think for both sides, whether we win or lose, that will not define, you know, the season. It's another 3 points. It's a vital 3 points. But we're at home, so we're expected to win.
We're always waiting to see how the other team approaches it, though. So the expectation would be a positive approach from Sunderland. Well,
I can't see how they won't because of the players that they've got. So Enzo Lefebvre is a great, you know, attacking player. They've got Bellingham, you've got Rigg, Isidore up top. You know, they could cause us 1 or 2 problems, which means they'll come at us. But I think teams that come at us, we quite like that. Coventry tried it, that didn't work. Watford tried it, that didn't work. Let's see what happens tonight.
Let's see. Looking forward to it. It's a big one.
It is indeed a big one. What's our approach going to be tonight for this one, Simon?
Same as every week. Try and keep possession of the ball. Make sure that sort of we don't give away needless passes. Move it around the pitch. Get it to them that key front four in little pockets, little areas, and be as ruthless as possible. As well as making sure your concentration levels are really high, and you're not getting done on the counter-attack from this Sunderland team.
Yeah, that concentration is going to be so important in a game like this, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, because, you know, in terms of possession, we're obviously a team that like possession, and I think they're ranked like 12th in the league, which is quite surprising considering their league position, but that just goes to show how organised they are defensively and how they are ready to kind of, you know, nick the ball off us and punish us if we make any mistakes.
Yeah, 13th for possession, 1 in the final third.
Yeah.
So, yeah, ready to get you on the counter, basically. Look, the game earlier this season ended 2-2, but you know, we should have won that, given Elland's, you know, I don't want to bring it up, but given his error. But that was a game really we should have won, wasn't it?
Yeah, look, it was a game where they started really well and we went a goal down and we weathered the storm and got back into it, and then obviously you go into injury time and Elland unfortunately makes that mistake, which has been highlighted at that particular time, which was tough for the kid. But that happens with goalkeepers, they make mistakes unfortunately, and the biggest unfortunate part of that is we dropped 2 points off the back of it. But yeah, you'll draw from them positives of that game, and I'm so impressed by Meslier since he's come back into the team, the mental strength and the big saves that he's had to make when he's needed to.
Look, we've spoken about this being a game that we'd like to win, but for Sunderland, they'll be looking at this as a must-win tonight, Bridie.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, they're still within touching distance of that automatic promotion spot, so they very much want to get the win. But, you know, similarly, they really can't lose tonight. So, you know, they've got, you know, a lot to lose tonight as well. They're going to, you know, come at us, like I said, and, you know, try and catch us on the counter.
There will only be Sunderland fans that wanted this game. Burnley, Sheffield United will be all desperate for a Sunderland win tonight.
That makes me want it even more.
Yeah.
What about threats in their side, Bridie? Who are their key men?
Yes, I think they've got a few, and this is where, you know, as much as they're going to be thinking about us, you know, Daniel Farker will have done his homework on them, but, you know, they've got the striker, Isidore. He makes some really good runs, but he misses quite a lot of chances. He missed a couple of penalties against Burnley the other week as well, but he has scored 3 in 5, so, you know, he's, you know, going to be definitely a player to keep an eye on. Lafy on the left-hand side, He's got a killer pass in him, he's tricky, he's pacey, so definitely keep an eye on him, he's their new signing. And then you've got guy on the bench, what's his name, Mayador. He's got 5 assists, 4 goals this season, so if he comes off the bench, you know, he's also quite dangerous. And then finally, Joe Bellingham, you know, physically he's ridiculous, just like his brother, but he controls that midfield for him. So, you know, the 5 games that he's missed this season, they haven't ranked up a win there, so, you know, he's definitely somebody that controls the midfield for them.
Look, well, kick-off is less than 15 minutes away, but let's just cast our minds back to October and that 2-2 draw. Yeah, it was a dramatic game, that, but it really felt like we should have won it, didn't it, Bridie? Yeah,
it was so frustrating, and, you know, when you look back at the season, you know, we've had a very good season, let's be honest, but there is a few games that stick in your mind, and that's one of them where we've gifted them some points. You know, same with the game at Hull when we drew 3-3, when it should have very much been in the bag, that game, but, you know, at the end of the day, we're in a very good position. Let's face it, many teams would like to be in our position, so, you know, we're still in the driving seat as far as I'm concerned.
And Simon, with 10 minutes to kick off, what is the feeling like in the dressing room right now?
Yeah, look, they'll just be going through the last little pieces of maybe reminders of the set pieces. Daniel will probably let the players just get on with the last little bits that they're doing, the boots, etc. But then the focus is there. They'll all be wishing each other the best of luck. But I think the message from the dressing room will be amongst them. Will be say, make sure you play with your head as well as your heart. Be competitive, be aggressive, in possession, out of possession, but make sure you don't do anything stupid, and be collective as a team that they've been all season, and don't get away from what they've done for the previous games, which I don't think Daniel will allow him to do, because he's so level-headed and he isn't going to change his mindset or his philosophies.
Yeah, he is very pragmatic, isn't
Yeah.
he? How fast a start do you think they'll make Bridie, or is patience the key in a game like this?
I think we'll make a good start, and we have been making quick starts to games, haven't we, and getting some quite early goals, so that should hopefully settle any nerves that the players might have as well as the fans. Like I said, I think from a Sunderland point of view, I think they might sit back a little bit, not too much, but I think they'll definitely be happy that we'll be having a little bit more possession than them, but that's how we like it, isn't it? And players like Dan James, he's going to want to get on the ball early, and hopefully he can get us an early goal again.
How do you think Daniel Farke will be feeling right now? Because look, we can hear the chants outside. The atmosphere is incredible here. And he knows how big we all know this is a big game, but how will Daniel Farke be feeling?
Well, he's used to this, isn't he? He's done it, numerous times with Norwich, hasn't he? In terms of getting them promoted. He knows how to handle the pressure well. He knows how to handle the players. And everybody, like I said, is singing on the same hymn sheet. So, he's very experienced in this respect. And, like Simon says, he'll be letting the players just have their, final preparations going into the game. So I don't think he'll be nervous about this game.
Well, let's get the thoughts of the man himself, shall we? We'll see.
Well, it's in general a brave side. They've scored many goals. They can score more or less out of all positions. It's always important that many players chip in with goals, and also sometimes to open an opponent with a goal from a defender after set piece, for example, is also important. I spoke about this topic quite often, and we know that Sunderland has the skills, but nevertheless, it's also important to control their offensive players, to control especially their counterattacks. They're pretty good on the counterattacks, to control their key players, but to be switched on also, in order to avoid assists or goals from their defensive role, will be also play a crucial part. So I spoke already about pretty complex task for us. We have to be good in many different areas, but nevertheless, we want to bring our strength on the pitch, and then hopefully also to be as successful as possible in this game. Regis is a pretty experienced manager and has proven this also during his career already. And Sunderland, we know about the potential of the club, and I was fully aware also, before the season started, they have really good individual players. So lots of youth and energy and young talents, but also experienced players on this level who could lead the group, and this is what they do. They play with enthusiasm, with fire, and also their individual signings, especially in the offense, are also shining, and the young players are with confidence and rhythm. They're developing more or less from week to week, and it's a pretty good side, one of the best sides in this league. And we are pretty aware that we have to be good, especially also to control their offensive players, to control their strengths in terms of counterattacks, and it's also not that easy to open them and to score goals against them. I think we were pretty close in our last game against them, and should have won this game because we dominated this game also in many periods. But we have to be at our best in order to deliver the same level of performance again, and then also to be then concentrate and focus in the decisive moments to reward ourselves also with a result. So it will be like all the games against the top teams, a tight game, and you have to be good in details. This will be decisive.
Daniel, kind of echoing what you were saying earlier, Simon, about how important concentration and focus is going to be in a game like this. He's not underestimating the challenge that lies ahead with the Sunderland side.
I don't think anybody should be, because Sunderland are on merit in the top four, still going to be pushing to try and get the automatic positions, and they've got some key players as well. They've got some good individuals. So this is a game where nobody needs any motivation, supporters, players, managers. All you need to do is make sure you go out and continue to do what you've done all season. Yes, it's a big game, we all know that, but just go and win your individual battles. So if Bogle's playing against the left winger for Sunderland, make sure you have a better game than him. Make sure you're taking him the other way. Midfield players, win your individual battles. Top end of the pitch, go and make Sunderland average back four. Simple, isn't it?
Yeah. Just like that. As easy as that, Simon. He spoke as well about that mixture of youth and experience that they have in this Sunderland side as well, Bridie.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, so have we, So The thing is, it's like what Simon said, we've got to match them up. We've got to win your individual battles as well as collectively. And this is going to be a squad performance again today, as it has been all season. So, you know, the guys on the bench have got to be ready to come on and make a difference. And, you know, fingers crossed they will do that like they have all season. But yeah, it's going to be a tough game. It's not going to be an easy game. But I'm going to go, and you haven't asked me yet, but I'm thinking it might. I'm thinking it might be a 1-0, a boring 1-0, but I'll take it.
Simon, 7-0. What are you saying?
No. I'll go 1-0's a good shout, but I'll go 2-0.
You're going 1-0 and 2-0.
I just think because of how good they are defensively, I think, you know, sometimes you can cancel each other out, can't you? But yeah, I just think we might be able to nick it, and I'm going to go Dan James.
Oh, there you go. Who's your goal scorer, Simon?
I'm not bothered. 2 goals will do me as long
We're
as we
not bothered
win.
either, but thank you, Bridie. Look, it is almost time for kick-off, which means it is time to hand you over to our commentary team this evening, Bryn Law and Tony Dorigo.
Well, this is a big one tonight here at Elland Road, and there's an extra crackle in the air as we await the first appearance of the two teams down below. There's no sight or sound like it. A big game under the lights at this grand old stadium. You can keep your fancy arenas, they have their value, they have their worth, but this place, full, big game, you cannot beat it.